Welcome to Rabbit Trails for Cyborg Bunnies. In the very first video, we looked at the term critical realism as a necessary process for evaluating data and shaping future events. Today we are going to look at an excellent example of how critical realism, rather than social expectation, led to finding the actual cause and eventual cure for cholera in the 1854 epidemic. In her book, Critical Realism for Health and Illness Research, Priscilla Alderson opens Chapter 1 with a story about Dr. John Snow. No, not this John Snow, that John Snow. At the time, medicine was more of a social practice, relying on cultural norms and customs, with doctors believing that paying attention to their patients' and colleagues' preferences were the mark of a good bedside manner when attempting to discover the cause of illness. Alderson states that observing these preferences helped doctors to maintain their reputations, their incomes, and social positions, and their patients' trust. She also states that the transition to modern scientific medicine was slow and painful. The desire to maintain their social positions and income easily overcame most doctor scientific curiosity. Dr. John Snow was an exception. The cholera epidemic of 1854 was centered in the Soho district of London. Using a novel methodology, Dr. Snow mapped the occurrences of outbreaks and discovered that most cases centered around a particular pump used by people living in the poor district. As the pump was next door to both a brewery and a workhouse used by those same people, yet no outbreaks seemed to occur from people who visited them but not the pump, it made Dr. Snow question the prevailing ideology that cholera was an airborne disease. His theory was met with strong disapproval and disdain from his colleagues, who were quite comfortable with their theory, which reinforced the social construct that associating with members of the poorer class would make the upper class ill. Airborne disease validated a strict separation between the rich and the poor. However, to test his theory, Dr. Snow had the infected handle on the pump removed. The cases of cholera dropped immediately. Alderson explained the methodology of critical realism Dr. Snow used to solve the problem. First, induction, where he observes many cases. Second, deduction, where he began to form his hypothesis. And finally, the most interesting, retroduction. I had never heard the term retroduction before, but the methodology involves searching beyond the evidence for the unseen cause, which can only be seen in its effect. This was particularly interesting because of what it means for empirical science. Not all causal agents can be seen, measured, and observed in a laboratory. If prevailing science states that A is the cause, but in real life people are experiencing very different results, then retroduction should be applied and new possibilities examined. By using critical realism, Dr. Snow went against the prevailing medical science of his day and brought the cholera epidemic under control. Critical realism has the final step of asking, what must the world be like for this to occur? Empirical science does not ask that question. Scientists and society are trained to believe that modern science is unbiased, but bias is inherent in the methodology used and the questions asked. Like the doctors of Dr. Snow's day, modern researchers need to maintain their reputation and funding. The social expectation of the funders are going to be reflected in the results. By asking, what must the world be like for this to occur, we may just be able to discover what the world could be like for the future we dream of to occur. Thank you for watching, and join me next time on Rabbit Trails for Cyborg Bunnies.